The benefits of using adhesives for manufacturing enclosed trailer sidewalls and roofs are well known. Once these trailers enter service, they provide customers many years of solid, reliable performance. During those years of service, if a mishap occurs and a trailer panel is accidentally damaged, it can be removed and replaced by a 1- or 2-man team in as little as 30 minutes, start to finish. Let's go through the process. Start the repair process by removing any trim pieces that overlap the damaged panel you'll be replacing. All trim pieces should be reusable after the replacement panel is in position. With some trailer designs, the trim will be difficult to remove. In these cases, cut the damaged panel as close to the trim as possible. There are 2 cuts to make. Let's get started. On the side of the damaged panel that underlaps its neighbor, the side to the front of the trailer for a side panel, simply make a straight vertical cut the full height of the panel, leaving around 3 inches of the damaged panel's edge remaining to serve for the new panel bonding area. This vertical cut should go as high as possible without damaging any trim pieces or the roof of the trailer. Cut the damaged panel horizontally, about 4 to 6 inches from the top of the panel. This cut should intersect the vertical cut just made, as shown in the video. Removing the damaged panel from the side of the trailer is the next step. This can be done fairly easily by applying a peel force to the panel bond line. Generally, it's fairly easy to grasp the top of the damaged panel with pliers or locking pliers and peeling or rolling the panel downward. As shown, the Henkel SMP sealant will allow the panel to cleanly separate away from the trailer's aluminum or steel frame members, as well as the overlap area of the undamaged panel to the rear of the panel section being replaced. Peeling back the edges of the panel from any trailer frame members may sometimes make the job easier. Using a small pry bar, scraper, or razor knife can also help with this step. Be careful not to damage or scrape the painted panels on the trailer, except in the area where the new panel will overlap existing panels. Remove and recycle or dispose of the damaged panel section you just cut free. If top trim pieces prevented you from making your vertical air knife cut all the way to the top of the damaged panel, remove the remaining horizontal section of the damaged panel. A small pry bar and/or locking pliers can assist in this step. The next step is to remove the majority of the cured adhesive from the trailer frame members and the areas of the panels where the new panel will be mounted. The goal here is only to remove the bulk of the cured adhesive. You don't need to remove 100% of the cured material or get down to bare metal. The Henkel SMP adhesive used to mount the new panel is the same as was used when the trailer was originally built and adheres very well to the small amount of product left in place. Now we're ready to start building. The first step is applying Henkel SB450 Primer Adhesion Promoter to the painted surfaces the replacement panel will be attached to. As shown, a small squeeze bottle with a foam applicator tip works very well to apply the product in a single pass over just the right area of the painted panels. Alternatively, a clean cloth can be used to coat an area approximately 2 inches wide along the panel edge. Apply enough to leave a wet but non-dripping film. There's no need to apply the SB450 Primer Adhesion Promoter to steel or aluminum frame members, whether the steel or aluminum is bare or has a small amount of remaining cured adhesive after the scraping step we just completed. Once the SB450 material is applied, it will dry within a few minutes, depending on humidity. The material can be applied up to 3 days in advance of the adhesive joint being assembled with no loss of effectiveness. To aid in verifying the SB450 has been applied, the product has a fluorescent dye in it which shows up under blacklight even when dry. Now, it's time to get the new panel ready for mounting. The panel should be pre-cut to the same dimensions as the original panel. For this step, 0.040 inch by 0.25 inch double-sided foam damming tape must be used. The tape serves 4 important purposes. Number 1, It ensures there's an adequate gap for optimal adhesive performance. Number 2, it prevents squeeze out of adhesive from the seam. Number 3, it will assist in holding the panel in place while the adhesive cures. And number 4, it allows for a simpler repair process if damage ever occurs in the future. To install the tape, unroll the tape from the spool and apply the tape to the back side of what will be the rear edge of the replacement panel, about 1/8 of an inch from the edge. This is the edge of the replacement panel that will overlap the adjoining panel on the trailer. The tape should run the whole height of the panel. The release tape on the remaining side of the foam damming tape is left on at this point, except for a 3 to 6 inch section at the very top, which should be peeled back with the release tape pigtail left hanging free. The next step is to load the Henkel MS9399 SMP adhesive into the dispense gun and attach a dual mix nozzle to the cartridge. Be sure that the MS9399 cartridge has acclimated to the ambient temperature, ideally 60 degrees Fahrenheit to 80 degrees Fahrenheit. Once the product has reached this temperature range, place the 400 milliliter cartridge into the manual or pneumatic gun you'll be using to dispense the product. Install your static mix nozzle by removing the cap and plug from the nozzle end of the cartridge and screwing it onto the cartridge tip. The square mix nozzle, Henkel item 98667, is the recommended mix nozzle. Next, you need to purge air out of the mix nozzle. For this step, we'll use a rag or piece of scrap to dispense a small amount of material onto. If using a manual dispensing gun, simply squeeze the handle repeatedly until the product comes out smoothly and evenly. With a pneumatic gun, adjust its pressure to a low setting, pull the trigger, and dispense a small amount of adhesive onto the rag or scrap part. Once the adhesive flows consistently with no air visible in the mixer tip, it's ready to be used. Apply the adhesive in a 1/4 inch wide bead to the painted surfaces of the existing forward and aft trailer panels. Apply around 1 to 2 inches from where the new panel's edges will be located. Also apply to the aluminum or steel vertical sidewall structural members. As can be seen, these unpainted aluminum and steel surfaces do not need to be cleaned or prepared down to bare metal. The MS9399 adhesive will bond very well to leftover remnants of adhesive from the original panel installation. Once all of the adhesive beads are in place, mount the new panel within 5 minutes to ensure maximum adhesive performance. Now, it's time to mount the replacement panel in place. The panel is pressed into place against the adhesive bead, starting with the forward end, which is tucked underneath the panel forward of it on the trailer wall. The new panel is then pressed against the adhesive beads on the trailer's structural members and then the rearmost adhesive bead located on the aft panel. The panel has several minutes where it can easily be maneuvered. Once the panel is fully positioned horizontally, it needs to be pushed upward to fit under any roof trim pieces that are in place on the trailer. The final step in the new panel installation is ensuring the panel is uniformly seated into the beads of adhesive to assure a good, solid bond line. This can be done with a roller or simply by hand. If it's done by hand, using a rag can help with the smooth and easy application of pressure as you push the panel along the bond line. Once the panel is located exactly in place and seated in the adhesive beads, take the damming tape backing pigtail and pull it vertically downward to expose the adhesive backing. Roll or apply hand pressure to seat the damming tape in place against the panel. The tape will assure no micro-movement of the panel occurs during the cure time of the adhesive sealant. The new panel installation is now complete. The final step in the job is to reinstall any remaining trim pieces along the roof and base of the trailer wall. Henkel MS939 adhesive sealant is suggested for the trim piece reinstallation. To allow sufficient curing of the adhesives, it's recommended that the trailer be kept at a temperature above 60 degrees Fahrenheit for 1.5 to 2 hours before being exposed to colder temperatures. The trailer is now ready for service.